What's up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Robert Fitzpatrick. I am a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Texas. And today, I just want to go over my weekly market report as I'm going to start doing every single week, just to break down the market and give you guys an insider's view from a real estate agent's perspective, and eventually open it up to a live show where I answer questions and just help y'all navigate the real estate market. So, just to give you some context, every single week I put out a video I put out a weekly email where I break down my local market. I'm in the DFW area, the Dallas Fort Worth area. I help buyers and sellers, investors buy and sell property. I study the real estate market, and ultimately, I carry myself as a professional. And I am part of a team called the Bailey Watson Real Estate Group that is powered by eXp Realty. So that's my background. I've been an agent for about going on 4 years now in 2023. Um, and so, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. But one of the things that I want to talk about is the fear in the market. Okay. The fear in the market. Now, I remember back in 2020, right? I just moved to Texas, got my Texas real estate license. Before that, I was in Colorado. I know some of y'all, oh, you said 4 years. Chill, 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 chill. I was in Colorado doing real estate, came to Texas in 2020, started doing real estate here. There's the dates, okay? And in 2020, when I was helping buyers buy real estate, what was happening was I would be putting in offers, and I'd be getting $2,000, $3,000 in concessions. And concessions, for those of you who don't know, this is pretty much money that the seller is using to help the buyer purchase the property, whether they're paying for closing costs, repairs, or just taking money off. Now, there are limits to what can be done with concessions, but they're typically negotiated. They were typically negotiated in that type of market. So, right, I came in when the market was you still had a fairly good chance of getting a property. There'd be times where somebody would call me off of a Zillow lead and say, hey, we want to check this property out. I would go look at that property with them, show them the property, and we would put a contract in that day for the property. 30 to 35 days late, 30 to 35 days later, I had a big fat check in my bank account. Okay, that's how it started when I was in Texas. Then around January, I would say about March 2021 is when it really got real in terms of putting in 5-6 offers on properties, sellers expecting you to pay over asking price and not just 1,000 or two. They don't want to negotiate. They stopped making the typical repairs that you would see them making. They had like this cocky attitude. Now I'm going to give you a story, right? In 2021, I was helping a buyer purchase this property, and this property had water damage because in 2021 there was a huge storm. Okay, there was a storm, and this storm, it froze the pipes in the house. Okay, there was like a winter storm. It had frozen the pipes in the house that previous winter, but the house was unoccupied. So what ended up happening is some pipes burst and water got everywhere. Now they thought that they fixed the issue. The problem was when you walked in the house, you could feel like the wood was soft. You could feel where there was some moisture there. So we got an inspection and there was moisture there, whatever. So we got that resolved. Well, then what ends up happening is we turn the water on in the bathroom. And what I noticed is, because it had two sinks, when you turn the water on one sink on, it's good. But then when you turn it on the other one at the same time, the water goes down. Like there's barely any water coming out. Now, if you turn the water on the sink and you turn the shower on, the same issue. You flush the toilet. So whenever water was being used simultaneously throughout the house, the water level would greatly go down, right? The water pressure, if you will. So the house was newer, like it had been built within the last 2 or 3 years. So we got in contact with the builder, who happened to just be, making repairs on the house or whatever, because they said that they had fixed the previous issue, whatever. When I tell you that I got on the phone with this builder, and their attitude was just very cocky. It was like, well, we have other people that want to buy the property. So if you're not okay with with having all these water issues in the property to where you can't use the one sink, or if the dishwasher is running, you can't take a shower. If you're not okay with that, move on, is pretty much what they said. All right. Mind you, they did not acknowledge that there was an issue. They tried to convince us that it was all in our head. Finally, we had a plumber come out, and the plumber even said, there's an issue. When the plumber says that there's an issue, they still don't want to fix it. And I say all that to say that is not this market that we're in right now. Okay. Now, there are some sellers that just threw their home on the market, and they would just want to see what they can get. But right now, sellers are starting to make more repairs before they put their house on the property. They're negotiating the price down, and we're going to get into how much, in my local market at least, buyers are negotiating the price down. I think it would surprise you, and much, much more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see my weekly market report. Okay. So that you can see my weekly market report. Okay. All right, let's see. Bear with me. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen right now. All right. There we go. So here's a picture of me. There's a picture of me. And here we go. So in November 2022, these are the most recent numbers I have access to. The average home in my area sold for 5.5% below asking price. 5.5% below asking price. Now, what I want to emphasize right here is this. When we were at the peak of this thing, the average home was selling for about 3% over asking price. Now, what you have to remember is that the asking price was already super high, was already above normal market value, okay? And people were paying about 3% above that. So it'd be like you going to the store, and Skittles are usually $1.50, I think, $1.50. Let's say you went to the store and Skittles were now $5 a pack. And when it's all said and done, you ended up paying closer to, let's see, you ended up paying, because I don't even know the math, 5, 10, 50 cents, 50 and 10% over, divide that by 3. You ended up paying more than $5. Let's say that you ended up paying more than $5, plus more with tax, right? This is what essentially was happening in the real estate market. You had a bunch of people, bunch of homeowners that said, if I list my property, I can get all this money for it. And again, this was when you could list your property and interest rates were so low that there is a great incentive for you to list your property and go buy a new one, because even though prices were high, interest rates were still around 3%. Okay. So homeowners were listing their property for an astronomical amount, and then people were paying 3% on top of that. Now, homeowners are listing their properties a little bit lower, and people are paying 4.5% or 5.5% below that, okay, on average. So if we do the math, that's about 50 on a $300,000 home. That's about a $15,000 discount. So you're going to be around 285 for a property that's listed at 300,000 on average. Okay, on average. So let's go through this. Additionally, inventory has more than doubled since November 2021. So what that means, for those of you who may not be aware of what inventory is the amount of properties we have on the market that are for sale. Okay, that's what it is. Now in my market, and I'll show you this right here. In 2021, I think this is about right here. 2021, it was around right here. Okay. I believe November was around right here. Here's where we are now, almost at 3 months. And it was less than 1.5% or 1.5 months. Okay. We are at close to 3 months inventory. Okay. 3 months. So what that tells me is homes are sitting longer and prices are coming down. Okay. This is not the narrative that I'm hearing in the media, though. The narrative that I'm hearing in the media is the housing market is crashing. You shouldn't buy a house. It never in any circumstance should you buy a house right now. Interest rates are too high. Listen, okay. As an agent who was there when interest rates were low, there were still people like, well, prices are too high. Prices are too high and interest rates are too, but even though interest rates are too low, now interest rates are higher. Prices are still quite high, but they're not as high, but they're dropping. And as more data comes out when people are negotiating down, we're going to probably see the prices drop a little more. But one thing to keep in mind is that everyone's situation is different. Okay. Everyone's situation is different. You know, I can't, there's investors that I help purchase properties. There are people that they live in California, but they're coming to Texas. And so they don't mind, to them, the price isn't too high. Okay. The price isn't too high. Like, you know, there are thousands and thousands of people that move to the DFW area every single day. And they're moving from markets where it's much more expensive. New York, California, Nevada, Colorado. Like they may be moving from a different market where they cashed in on the equity and they're coming here and they're saying, hey, look, we had $800,000 in debt for our house. And this one, we may only be paying 500,000, 400,000 in debt, right? So there's trade-offs. You never know. So that's why I say everyone's situation is different. Someone may want to sell their property here in the DFW area and move farther out and downgrade the home, cash in on that equity, maybe take some of that money that they got, get an investment property, or put it in the stock market for their retirement, or something like that. You know, that you just never know what somebody's plans are, or cash in on the equity and pay for their child's college because they don't want them taking out a loan and getting charged interest rate. You just never know what a person's situation is. Okay, you never know. So let's keep going through this. Let's keep on going through. All right. So right here, okay, right here in the past, in around 2014 in January, Okay, it looks like January. That was the last time that it was this low, where you were getting properties 5.5% below listing price on average. Now, if you look up here, look, remember what I told you? At the peak, it was actually 104%. So I was a percent off. So we were 4%. People were paying on average 4% above what the property was listed for just at the beginning of this year. Just at the beginning of this year. Okay. And you can see it go down sharply. Boom. It's been on a decline since the beginning of the year. Right there. And remember when I came to Texas, what I was telling you, 2020. So we were still, that's what I was telling you. Around 2020, I was able to negotiate the price down. So we were able to get the property at asking or below on average, right? 98%, 2% below asking, 3% below asking, right? That was the market we were in. Okay, here's another statistic I want to show you. Since June in my market, the average home price has dropped. Here was June. $45,000. The average sales price, okay? The average sales price. So the mistake people look at or make is when they only look at what the listing prices are. Okay? It matters what the listing price is, but it matters more, in my opinion, what the home actually sold for. So the average price dropped $45,000 for a home, and you're going to tell me that that's not something that you should look at and say, okay, well, maybe I will put my hat in the ring in this real estate market. If the average price of a home or the average sales price dropped $45,000, that's a sign. Okay, that's a sign. Now, maybe it hasn't dropped enough. Maybe because of the huge skyrocket, it's not where you want to be. But that's where having a plan comes in place at. That's where having a real estate agent that knows what they're doing comes into place, because some people, they get sticker shock. Okay, they see that the property is listed for $300,000 and they get sticker shock, not realizing that if we can get $15,000 down, then on top of that, now we're sitting at around 385,000. Plus, we throw in maybe some concessions to get your closing costs covered. We might be able to make it work. We might be able to make it work. On top of that, interest rates are fluctuating. They go up, they go down. You know, if you have your pre-approval letter ready, or if you know what you want in the marketplace, you're going to be in a better position to capitalize. You are going to be in a better position to capitalize, guys. So I'm going to wrap this up. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up. What I want you to get away from this video is, one, the market is shifting. Just in my market alone, inventory has pretty much doubled since November 2021. Okay. I haven't even gotten into the new construction inventory, which is sitting around 4 to 5 months in my market. But inventory is rising, prices are dropping, and yes, interest rates are going up. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that there can't be a good trade-off, right? If you need help purchasing a home, let me know. Even if you're not in the DFW area, I can give you a great referral, recommend you to a professional agent in multiple areas. I have connections all over the country, all over the place, and I can get my team to work with you on the financing side if you want to take the step to get pre-approved and see what you can actually do in this market. No scary headlines, no, oh, the world is ending, but just what can you do? And even if you get approved for less than you think that, you know, you can get in this market, at least you know where you stand and what you need to do to get where you want to be. Okay. So if you got any value from this video, make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. If not, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. And don't forget, go play the market. Don't let the market play you.